Respected Colonel Sekhar, esteemed members in the dais and the distinguished gathering. I'll delve on this school leadership and management styles. There's a transformational change over the last 20 years because of technological innovation, globalization and migration, and the landscape of the school has changed, where the old model of administrative public style of running the school is now rapidly being replaced by the new public management style of functioning, where we see that the shift, a paradigm shift from that of prevention to, from that of intervention to prevention is happening. And how do different institutions need to address to this change, and how the school leadership has to really transform to meet up to this transformational change, which is characterized by market-like mechanisms, by managements which have become more flatter, decentralization, and more of compliance and more of accountability. Now, what is this change? I could identify not less than 13 of these changes from 20th century learning to 21st. These are all, and these are all, which needs no explanation because we all are aware of. Now, what is the shift that is making the role of the principal different, which is based on the action and behavior? Now, starting with the very instrumental work by the Organization of Economic Cooperation and Development on a report called Improving Leadership in Education, what can be seen is that this shift, quite popularized by the US when in 1980s they started this large-scale, the policy for large-scale improvement of schools with the slogan of learning for all, the use of, rapidly the use of the term of instructional leadership. Now, the old system of administrative leadership is now, again, it is not mutually exhaustive, but they can blend together, and this is seen in the various indices that has been clubbed together in observing the behavior and actions of the modern school principal. So, the Management School Goal Index, the Instructional Index, the Direct Supervision, which comprises of the instructional leadership style, and the administrative style, which is accountable and bureaucratic management. And the research paper shows, like in the right side, top of the quadrant, when we can see that the high score in instructional leadership and the high score in administrative leadership, and at the left lower side we see the lower score in instructional and administrative leadership. Now, when we talk about instruction, then the focus is on instructional core. Now, many education policy makers practitioners and researchers talk about this instructional core, and the core is the heart, and here these three elements are important: the teacher quality, the rigor of the content, and the students as learners. And there has to be, for an instructional leader, the emphasis on how to see that there is an interaction in the core, which implies that the student, the content, and the teacher should be always interacting in the context of teaching and learning in any period of time. It is observed that in many cases that in schools there is in lower classes especially, there is a interaction between the student and the teacher, but content is not much there. In the senior classes, it is seen that there is an interaction between the teacher and the content. The teacher is seen to be giving an intellectual workout in front of the students, but everything is going over the head. So any investment in the content, or any investment in the teacher, and any investment in the students has to happen all together. If the quality of the content is rigorous, then teacher training is required, and if the teacher training happens, the students also has to be trained and motivated in such a way through scaffolding and other means, so that they are able to understand the curriculum rigor, not just not just to find the correct answer. Otherwise, what is hoped for will not be achieved. So, what is expected from today's principal is to have an expanded approach of taking into the high points of instructional leadership and administrative leadership, wherein the principal becomes a learner, lead the process of learning, and does not become what Peter Senge says, an authoritative, does not adapt to an authoritative style of administration or management, but takes the course of learner-centric management, where the principal and the team is collectively learning, where there is a spirit of inquiry in the institution, where there is an element of surprise, an element of search, and where who is learned is not important. What is important is that it is seen that everyone is acting as a learner, and everyone is looking for something where the answer can come only through collaborative and collective enterprise. So now, from the top to run down bottom kind of an administration for a principal is not exemplary. What is expected, that an expanded form of a leadership which is both managerial and which is both instructional, and a principal remains in the present context, ideal context, as the sole dispenser of knowledge and wisdom, and who is also free from the feeling that he has to provide all answers. Thank you for the patient hearing.